All right, so deck tech for Obosh midrange. So last time where we left off, we had a non-Obosh list. I talked about some of the advantages, but of course, Obosh. The advantage to an Obosh list is we get Obosh. And the thing is sure, a good chunk of the time, Obosh isn't going to make that big of a difference, but sometimes it does. I will say, for the most part, the biggest advantage Obosh oftentimes brings is it's just another card you can put in your hand at any time for 3 mana. Sometimes you need a red card to put in your hand with Fury. Sometimes there's other cards you just really don't want to pitch, like Seasoned Pyromancer or something. And if it's between like Seasoned Pyromancer and Obosh, sometimes you just want to put the Obosh to hand and then pitch it with Fury, making Fury a 3 mana sorcery speed, deal 3 damage, deal 4 damage divided as you choose. It's actually pretty good. If you think about Obosh that way, the way it basically turns Fury into, instead of going -1 card advantage, instead it just turns into a 3 mana 4 damage divided as you choose spell. It's actually kind of good in that regard alone. Also, you can put it into your hand to just discard with Seasoned Pyromancer for better pitches if there's other cards you don't want to pitch. Or just, to get an extra card off of Fable, you can just convert it that way. I actually find that, Obosh it's honestly just kind of like good to just be an extra card, if nothing else. But, every once in a while, if the game gets particularly grindy, or against a deck like Tron, for example, sometimes, sticking this thing and getting like double Lightning Bolt for 12 damage, sometimes that's how you gotta, that's how you gotta clinch the win, right? Um, in any case, yeah, not sure. Not sure what more to say about this particular build other than that it's, Obosh good stuff. Um, like I explained last time, Fable's pretty non-negotiable, I think, at this point. Um, yeah, and I mean, the only thing is this is a Ragavan-less build. So for those of you who just don't want to break the bank with Ragavan, hopefully this will be encouraging because, you can actually go 5-0 without Ragavan. The thing about Ragavan is that if you can afford it, I would recommend playing it. I would not recommend breaking the bank for it. It's just not that super important. But hear me out. Even though I think the amount of win percentage that Ragavan increases of the deck is relatively minor, the fact of the matter is it does help you kind of juke extra wins, particularly against decks like Tron. Like, the thing is, it speeds the deck up a lot. And this deck's bread and butter is kind of decks like Rakdos midrange or other sort of mid-rangey decks that aren't necessarily Tron, like E-Tron or whatever, and aren't necessarily like Rhinos. I kind of classify Rhinos as a combo deck, even though it really plays out more like a mid-range deck. But like the thing is, it uses a gimmick to kind of actually pull ahead of us, whereas without the gimmick, it really wouldn't. It really wouldn't. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. The point is that Ragavan does help, but it's by no means necessary because at the end of the day, your best bet to going undefeated in any type of event or league is basically hitting your good matchups. And ironically, taking Ragavan out actually makes your good matchups even better. And what do we get in return? Well, we get either Bonecrusher Giant or we get Pyrite Spellbomb. Bonecrusher Giant, I think we're all familiar with that at this point. You can, it's like a 2-mana Magma Jet instead of Scry 2. You get a 4/3 giant that dings the opponent for 2. It doesn't scry 2, but it does it does make damage not be able to be prevented, which is surprisingly relevant in certain matchups. Most of the time not, but particularly useful against pro-red. But of course, Pyrite Spellbomb can just outright deal with a pro-red creature as long as it has 2 or less toughness. The thing about Pyrite Spellbomb actually that I really like, and I probably at this point am feeling like I kind of favor it over Bonecrusher, like if I were to play a Ragavan version, for example, it's really just that Pyrite Spellbomb kind of like it deals with pro creatures outright, which is nice, but also its ability to draw a card is kind of underrated. At this point, I'm kind of thinking of Pyrite Spellbomb more like a 2-mana sort of cantrip that you can pay the cost split over 2 turns that can also incidentally burn for 2 when you really need it. And I think if you think of it that way, it's actually kind of good. The thing about this deck is one of the only ways we lose, especially our good matchups, is if we get like mana screwed or things like that. And Pyrite Spellbomb is just pretty cool because, just being able to cycle through your deck can just help smooth things out and make sure we don't lose to good old-fashioned variants. And yeah, sure, it's not as flashy as Bonecrusher Giant, but it gets the job done. But of course, Bonecrusher Giant is a great staple from the past that we've always known and loved. But yeah, at the end of the day, we got Shadow Spear for the burn matchup. Shattering Spear, of course, for all the artifact-based decks. Very solid artifact spell, and I think it can't be doubted how many decks there are that play artifacts nowadays in the current meta. And Stonebrain, of course, we're playing Stonebrain in Obosh, which we can do. I'm not necessarily sure that I'm going to settle on this long term. That's not where I'm currently at right now, as far as Stonebrain being in my Obosh versions. But it is playable, and if I would play it as a 4 if you're playing it at all in Obosh, because I've said this before, but if you're going to play an even costed card that's going to conflict with Obosh in the SB, you might as well play it as a 4 because you really want to see it. Otherwise, like if you never see it during the game, all you did by bringing it in was just disable Obosh. So, kind of want to at least see the card that you're losing Obosh for, if you know what I mean. That's how I see it, at least. So I don't usually favor playing like an even costed card as a 2 in an Obosh deck, but that's just me. In the SB, of course. Yeah, and the only other interesting innovation that I might say here that I want to comment on is we got the 4 Forgotten Cave. In the past, I assumed that I needed like 6 to 8, mountains to make a Field of Ruin viable, but as you may have seen last league with the Companionless version, which has Shatter Skull Smashing, it's actually not necessary, and so, my thinking was, well, if if I can get away with only 4 mountains, well, maybe I can get away with Forgotten Cave too. Now, the problem is it comes into play tapped, which means we only have 8 red sources that come into play untapped on turn 1. I was well aware of that when I first started experimenting with this, but at the end of the day, even as much as we talk about Ragavan killing you turn 1 if you don't deal with it, it's not actually true necessarily. Number 1, I still have 8 red sources to possibly fire off a Lightning Bolt or Spikefield or Flame Slash on turn 1 if really need be. But number 2, I also have Fury, which is not the most ideal. But number 3, you also have you can also just let it hit you maybe once or something. I mean, like, I don't know. So far, you'd be surprised. It's not necessarily the death sentence you think. In the past, I assumed that I had to have at least like 12 untapped red sources on turn 1 because I had to deal with Ragavan. But upon some further testing, I'm not so sure that's necessarily correct. And I know it might seem like I don't necessarily need to hedge my bets more in grindy matchups. What can I say? One of the only ways I find that I lose my good matchups is that I either get mana screwed or mana flooded. Now, Forgotten Cave ain't going to help with being mana screwed, but believe it or not, mana flood is a thing. Even when I have so many ways to pitch cards and whatnot, like just having that little extra hedge. I mean, it just increases the consistency at the price of slowing the deck down a little bit. But you'd be surprised, at least in my experience so far. Well, we're gonna run this through the league. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'm excited to take a similar concept that we discussed last time and use the more traditional Obosh shell, sans Ragavan, which is not necessary, as I will hope to show. Take care, everybody. Let's go to the games. All right, we got match 1, game 1 here, and I'm as excited as you all are. Maybe not quite as excited, maybe more excited. I don't know, maybe less. But in any case, let's see what we're up against because it's been a while. Oh, this should be interesting. What was this again? It's been a while, so it's tough for me to remember exactly what this deck is. But I'm guessing it's the old mono black, coffers type deck. So. Yeah, I mean, I see us getting Bonecrusher down as a decent idea. Now, of course, they're probably just going to play Fatal Push. Okay, so it's Rakdos Scam, which is more likely. I thought it might have been the black Coffers deck, which is always a blast, sort of. Okay, well, but here's the thing. Because of Research Desk here, I can just kind of use it out of the graveyard, which is so nice, and then I can play Fable next turn. That's the thing, man. This Research Desk, it's great selection and great card advantage. It's the closest thing we have to some type of expressive iteration. It's not quite as clean, but the advantage out of the graveyard cannot be underestimated. So this is probably going to get negative-2'd by Liliana, but that's fine. If we can make something of her loyalty, then it is what it is. Okay, all right, well. So we're under a little bit of pressure, which is fine. This is kind of our bread and butter matchup. I think we're going to, hit Liliana, then play this. I like that. Just because Liliana could be a little difficult to deal with later on. Otherwise, all right, that sucks. But there's 7 life, though. But they've got quite a board presence. So, we're probably going to have to do something about the board first. Pyrite Spellbomb is a little difficult. But hey, we got Seasoned Pyromancer. This is what we call magic. I'm not sure what's going to happen. I'm not sure who's going to win, but this is Hopefully things get interesting. Okay, what's this going to be? Ba 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 ba. Okay, makes sense. Ragavan. Probably got to block the Ragavan if I do say so myself. Alrighty. I can flashback Seasoned Pyromancer. I'll play this. Makes sense. I'm not necessarily feeling so bad. Let's see here. I'll probably block the tokens. Yeah. Alrighty. Might want to deal with the Dothy Voidwalker before I can untap. Yeah, makes sense. So far, I'm kind of approving of my plays, which is a good sign. I'd like to think that I'm getting the kind of rhythm of playing the deck down pat, which, you know, I'd like to. I mean, if I can't get it down pat, then who can, right? But of course, you know, some just because what's his name, whoever it was, invented basketball, it doesn't mean Michael Jordan obviously doesn't play it better. And I'm not necessarily, and I'm not the inventor, to be fair. Like, the red deck wins existed far before. But let's go back to the game. What's my oh yeah, okay. So I cycled that. I got a Fable. I'll put this to hand. This is gonna be close, man, because they're putting me under a lot of pressure. Yeah, they're putting me under a lot of pressure. Yeah, I kind of get behind that. I think their best chance of winning is to get me low enough. Yeah, that's good. That's good, not gonna lie. Yeah. And I think I would have cracked the Relic now. Don't want them to get the tokens. Play this. In retrospect, I was like, oh, shoot, because that might have been one mistake. Although, no, that's definitely a mistake. Yeah, instead of the Bugbear could crash in. If they have Lightning Bolt or something, then they obviously get me. That was, oh no, it's the same idea. I was thinking they would attack and then, you know, shoot me for one, but that was some good magic. Let's see how the rest of the games go. Okay, match 1, game 2. Let's see how we sideboarded. I don't think we really changed anything. Yeah, this is pretty much no change. The reality is, even though we lost that game, we're pretty much main boarded against them, and I am not particularly worried about winning games 2 and 3. I know that might sound kind of arrogant, but I'm just not. I mean, sure, I could lose, but I'm only about as worried as I'm probably indomitable creativity players are about worrying against my deck. I mean, it happens, but like, what's the point of worrying about it? You know, you're pretty much as favored as you're going to get without reaching for any of these sideboard cards. You know, I could have played Seasoned Pyromancer to hedge a little bit more against Ragavan, but I guess I'm feeling lucky, Clint Eastwood style. Yeah, that makes sense for me. Yeah, so I'm probably going to discard Flame Slash, and that's probably it. Right. Alright, you know. Yeah, like I'll hold up Bonecrusher for stomp purposes. I might just stomp them, to be honest. Nope. Alrighty. I'm playing a little weird. I'm playing a little different than I would have thought. I would have thought that I'd play Seasoned Pyromancer and then go from there. I think I'm overvaluing the stomp a little bit, to be honest. But to be fair, Bonecrusher is still some sweet card advantage if I can run it off. And run it off I will. I think I thought for a second, but yeah, no, probably I'm stomping the Ragavan. It's just scarier if it connects. Oh, never mind. I thought I was stomping the Ragavan, I guess not. Okay, now it's time to unleash the Pyromancer. I have a feeling they're going to unload a Fury, and this is going to be another real game. Yeah, I fell behind a bit on the mana development, but it is what it is. Yeah, see, there's the Fury. Oh, never mind. Okay, my memory was incorrect. Man, they're kind of running low on time, though. This kind of sucks, because this is some good magic here, but, yeah. So here's what I'm doing. They don't attack, and I'm going to unleash the Fury on all 4 tokens, which I think is a little bit better use of Fury. One of my best advice for the Rakdos midrange matchup, because the thing is even though on paper, in theory, we're advantaged, if you misplay it, you can absolutely lose it. And that's not trying to cast any shade on anybody who has struggled against Rakdos midrange. One of the things about these midrange mirror type decks is they see, like right there, I probably exposed myself to. But Mishra, yeah, to getting hit when I didn't need to. But Mishra's Research Desk, though, like, it's kind of like the Monkey's Claw. Like, when they use it, I get it back through my graveyard, so it's not really that bad. And of course, I still get to get the Pyro tokens out of the graveyard. Turok, it's not that big of a deal. You know. And then I play... They're going to time out, though. They don't have enough time to win game 2 and 3. This kind of sucks, because this is some pretty good Magic here. I don't know... I don't know what on earth is taking them so long, but it is what it is. Kind of feel like I should have Lightning Bolted the Turok, but it's fine. Let's see here. Yeah, Fury, man. Good old Tyson Fury. Bam. I think, yeah, the reason why I go like that is because I didn't want them to have the ability to play play like one of those undead, type cards that bring it back. That's a great way for them to get backbreaking card advantage with Seasoned Pyromancer, and if you can try to make it so that they get less of that type of advantage, then yeah, you get the idea. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, match 1, game 3, and again, no further changes with the sideboard, so let's just roll this one out. And unfortunately, they're so low on their time. But at the end of the day, look, we had to take a mulligan, but we we actually have a pretty good hand this time. We got Ragavan under control. And what sucks is, and we really should play to win. But what sucks is we kind of, oh, that's such a good draw. Because yeah, like the thing is we don't want to let them untap, because then if they play like a discard spell or something, then they could tap in response and we don't get the yeah, that's probably the best possible pitch. I don't know what to say, because we get value out of the graveyard nonetheless. But yeah, we don't get the Bonecrusher if they sack it in response, basically is what I'm trying to say. But anyway, yeah, at a certain point we may have to start sacrificing the Relic, but I don't think we're there yet. And we can definitely play the Fable. But what sucks is we kind of have to, I mean, like, we're incentivized to play more defensively than we otherwise would, because we kind of win on time, which sucks because we don't, I mean, this is good Magic, and it would be nice to, like, actually kind of play it out, but, and to be fair, I'm not sure if we win by attacking or not, but we could, probably. I think this one's going to time out, though, I'm going to be honest here. That's weird. Why didn't I take Mishra's Research Desk? Feel like I wasn't thinking straight, but I mean, it's not. I doubt it's going to make that big of a difference, but it could, and I would generally advocate for that. I think going forward. Let's see here. I'll play Research Desk. Play the Bonecrusher, and they terminate. Okay. All right. Surprised I didn't crack the Research Desk, but so it goes. Let's go crack it now. Seasoned Pyromancer. It's pretty good stuff. I guess I'll play the Seasoned Pyromancer. Okay. So Kenzen, that's fine. Should I hit the token? Yeah, I guess so. It's kind of increased value with with Bonecrusher attacking. Alrighty. Alrighty. Yeah, kind of going a little crazy here. Just trying to really get ahead on the whole card advantage thing. I'll just hedge a little bit against Ragavan. Yeah, and let's see. Might as well. I'm surprised I didn't cycle that. So I'm playing a little loose here, to be honest, but I don't think it makes that big of a difference, but there's kind of no real good reason not to cycle that, in my humble opinion. But we're pretty far ahead by all metrics. So, yep. I could just Bugbear it up, right? Because, I mean... Oh, or play Obosh, that works too. Or, see, we're already at 9 mana. See what I mean about, like, Kozilek being, like, not necessarily uncastable for 10 mana? We're just 1 mana away if we had Kozilek. No Lilianas this time. Oh, there we go. Spoke too soon. Yeah, might as well. Discard the Blast Zone. But, yeah, I mean, I'm feeling pretty good about this. So at this point, it's just a question of, are we going to win by time, or are we going to win fair and square? Alright, let's go. Yep. I mean, I just got to take this opportunity to snipe the Liliana. Alright. I think this is going to be time. No, I think I got lethal here, so cool stuff. Let's go. All right. Okay. Dokie. All right. Match 2, game 1. And yeah, let's see how this one goes, because from what I'm looking at, this is probably going to be interesting. It could be interesting in one or two ways. I think this is either going to be really long, and anyway, it's neither here nor there, or it's going to be, I think this might be a long one, but let's see here. Yeah, so we're under a little bit of the gun. This could have been a mistake, but I really hate being under the gun from Ragavan here with these Murktide decks. I would like if I had a Relic, but I think we're going to have to rely on Blast Zone. Guess we'll just do this. And I want to play it this way because I want to make sure I've got the Ratchet Bomb up for more Ragavan shenanigans. Alright. So I have kind of two courses of action. Continuously charge up Blast Zone, or just, oh, well, you know, we'll see if this sticks, because this is going to guide how I approach myself. And of course, I would absolutely counter if I were them too. Yeah, might as well wait, I guess. Kind of guides what we're going to do. A little bit concerned if they bust out a Murktide, but if that doesn't happen, then I get to spin my wheels with pretty much reckless abandon here. Let's see here. I might as well. Let's research desk it up. I mean, I get so much research desk out of this. You know, that's the thing. These research desks, man. I'm tearing through my deck. Now I get to feel like they feel like when they play Expressive Iteration. I'm just tearing through my deck. It's a little, you know, taking a little more time though, because I got to keep spending more mana to flash it back and all that good jazz. But I don't know if I would have tapped it like that, to be honest. That was probably a mistake, but I guess I was planning to do that anyway. Yeah, there you go. Let's see here. Yeah, no Murktide is, you know, gonna equal, I think, good things for me. I'm probably just gonna discard it. Let's see, it's been particularly useful. Let's get some. Yeah, I mean, hey, I got it. I gotta do it, right? I gotta do it. Okay, so I'll wait till next turn. Yeah, Forgotten Cave. So now I'm a little vulnerable to a Raga, but you know, hey, what are you gonna do? I just want to make sure I keep hitting my land drops, if you know what I mean. That's the plan, at least. Well, this Field of Ruin is going to be pretty much, yeah. I mean, with 3 islands, I think, yeah, that's Mana Screw right there. Not bad. Probably going to discard the Lightning Bolt, and yeah, well, of course they had something, but the plan was I would discard Blast Zone, I think, and Lightning Bolt, but alas, bam, bam. And I think now that we've spun our wheels enough, I think now we're in the territory of charging up Blast Zone. Alright, cool stuff. Yeah, we're definitely charging Blast Zone, because this is one of the things about this matchup. Blast Zone on 2 is great for Ledger Shredder, but if we don't have Graveyard Hate under control, then we do want to put it on 7 for Murktide. So yeah, I led on Lightning Bolt precisely for this reason, because if they had a counterspell, I want to still be able to kill it even after playing my second spell, and kill it we did. I think if I remember this matchup correctly, Murktide's going to come down next turn. It's a little frustrating, but I still think that's pretty much the way. Nope, they didn't. So now I'm feeling pretty darn good about this. And I do that because I want to, in response, because see, they target in response, but I can you know, sacrifice it in response. See, look, bam, bam, bam. Not bad. Still get full value, which is always nice. But yeah, and I also. Yeah, and I will remember to cycle Forgotten Cave this time. But this is not bad. I mean, no Murktide equals kind of easy time for us, to be honest. With Murktide, it's a different story, but they really kind of need Murktide. That's really what this matchup comes down to. Is it's all strategically, like, you know, can they get a Murktide and protect it? Can I deal with it? That's kind of what this matchup comes down to, for the most part. There has been some anomalies where they kind of get there with like 3 Dragon Race Channelers, and somehow they either have excessive counter magic, or I don't have Blast Zone, or something, or I just don't have much removal. Period, Blast Zone or otherwise. You get the idea. So we'll see. I'm just gonna. I mean, the thing about these is that when they get dinged for 2, they get in the critical zone. So I have Blast Zone on 4. They do play Jace, but I think I'm basically angling to have this on 7 if possible. They continue to tear through their deck. Good for them. There's the Murktide that we were always worried about, but I think we got this pretty under control. So no worries. No worries here. Yeah, we just have 6 damage, bam. Alrighty. And they must have, and here's the thing, okay? There's no match, there's no game 2. My record is just 1-0-0 for some reason when I go back here in the post-league. They must have conceded after this. I'm not sure why, maybe that's somewhere to go. I thought this was going to be a pretty long one, but they just didn't want to deal with it. So, alright, I guess match 3. Okie dokie, so we got match 3, and we're up against the famous Fapalulz, or how we pronounce his name. So we're up against Amulet Titan, and not feeling my chances on game 1. But yeah, this is spoiler alert for anybody who was on Twitter, and he sent out a tweet, and I appreciate that, and that was all cool and everything. But yeah, just let's see how this one exactly went. Things should probably be interesting. Yeah, at the end of the day, we do like the Flame Slash and the Fury for their Dryads, or even for Titans, because unfortunately, trying to just manually sort of try to manage the Titans and the Dryads is just kind of what we have to do in game 1, because we don't really have much choice. No Titan. It's kind of weird. I always thought Fapalulz wouldn't keep an Amulet hand unless he had a Titan in it. So it might seem like I'm kind of being a little overly cautious, whatever you want to call it, but hear me out. It's just it's kind of the way it is. Let's see here. I have a feeling here is going to be the Titan. Yeah, it's weird that he didn't play Titan. No, it's Cultivator Colossus. Ooh, yeah. See, and then this just goes nuts. Cultivator Colossus is so nuts. Look at this. 10-10. I mean, I can actually kind of deal with it because of Obosh, but I deal 4 damage. I guess I'll play Flame Slash. But I'm not really feeling my chances super much because here's a Titan, I'm sure, and kablam. What can I say? Kablam. Haste. Or they got the Talaria West. Yeah, so they can return it, and then yeah. Get multiple Titans, give multiple of them haste. Pretty cool stuff. That's what happens, I guess, when you just put all the lands out and then get nothing but 4 business spells in a deck where the 4 business spells do serious work, as long as you have the lands to abuse them, which they do. So there you go. That's what Cultivator Colossus does. And yeah, I could just concede, but let's just make them, because who knows, maybe they have the last card in their hand, which I doubt. I mean, they haven't played it so far. Boros Garrison, I believe is what it's called. But it's probably just coming out here. No, oh, there it is. There's, Sunhome Fortress of Legion. Yeah, and that's bad for us because they gave both of them double strike, which is a bit too much double striking for us. Yep. All right. Okay, match 3, game 2, Amulet Titan. So how do we sideboard? Looks like I brought in Stonebrain, and I brought in Magus of the Moon. And Lightning Bolt is okay, but the only reason I would really like Lightning Bolt over other types of cards is if I already have Obosh down and I can one-shot a Titan at instant speed, but it's just so much that I gotta run through to get that. Bonecrusher is okay, but it's just kind of vanilla because the stomp doesn't end up doing that much, and the 4/3 body is it puts an okay clock, but nothing really that special. So at the end of the day, yeah, Magus is just way more threatening of a 3-mana body that I can put on the table than Bonecrusher ever could dream to be, and Stonebrain is just better utility than Light and Bolt usually can hope to be. Taking care of all their Titans is a pretty big game. Let's go. Okay, well there I got both my hate cards, so always nice. Now, I realize the danger of this, but I just went for it anyway, and of course I would have said that I was an idiot if I was wrong. Of course I'm going to call myself a genius when I'm right, because isn't that human nature, right? But I was worried about Force of Vigor, dealing with both of these. Thankfully that was not to happen. Yeah, and that makes sense. Thankfully I do have the Magus as a backup, but I did get to mana ramp myself. I took a land out of their hand and I got to mana ramp myself, so not bad. Okay, so there's a reasoning behind this. I just don't really see them getting the Titan mana next turn, and I just like being able to abuse the attacks more. Plus, if I get 2 mages, which I did, I can just deploy both of them, especially with the extra mana. Yeah, and so here's how I can still play both of them. I get the token, I play 1 mages, play Forgotten Cave, untap under the mages to play the other mages, and there you go. There we go. Forgotten Cave, other mages. Now hopefully they don't have like Fire Sprout or something, and I'm feeling pretty good about this if that's the case. So good stuff. See, I just like the nutty things I can do when I get to kind of go nuts with Fable, and this is one of those matchups where as long as I can live long enough, I can absolutely go nuts with Fable, which is always nice. Okay, let's see here. Ouchie mama. Ouchie mama. And that's another reason, by the way, where I let on Fable, because you just never know if, yeah, and I got to take care of that Amulet. Yeah, see what I mean? I'm in such a better position since I led on this reflection. Yeah, just gonna do this because I want to be able to go nuts with the Fury next turn, with this Tyson Fury, if you will. Yeah, there we go. And I'll play the Forgotten Cave, I think. Yeah. So the idea is I play Fury next turn, I copy it, I go to town, even if they play Titan, hopefully not enough. And note that I would not have been able to do this if I had led on Magus. If I don't think there's a very realistic chance they're going to play Titan next turn, I do agree with leading on Fable. And notice how they had to pay a very real cost here of losing 8 life from the 2 dismembers. So even though they cleared my Magi, this is why Magi is so much better than Blood Moon in this matchup. Because first of all, Blood Moon, it's too casually dealt with by like Boseiju who endures, or even Force of Vigor. Like sometimes Force of Vigor, like they can tag a Blood Moon and they can also just tag a random relic or whatever, Stonebrain, you name it. But yeah, Mages, like, first of all, their only real dedicated kind of like actual anti-hate to get Mages off the table is Dismember, and they actually have to pay 4 life to get that, which might not sound like a big deal, but here it kind of is a big deal. So anyway. Alrighty, well, we definitely have to keep on our best possible play to have a chance against one of the premier Titan Masters. Him and what's the other one called? Because I actually did a video with him. I forget. Oh man, Punt and Wine. Yeah, Punt and Wine, and I think something Martinez. I can't remember, but like there's a few of these Amulet Pro or Amulet like Masters, and Fall Applause is one of them, so got to be on our best. I mean, look, at the end of the day, it's a little bit of a wonky hand. I can't turn down a Mage's hand. I mean, but this just feels like a repeat of the last game. As long as I rip some kind of untapped red source, it's going to feel like a repeat, hopefully. 3 Magi. All right, let's see. So you got the answer or not? I think you do. But then I did get my red source, for what it's worth. I should have cycled that Pyrite. That was a mistake. But maybe it won't end up mattering. And I'm going to continue following my advice of playing the Fable first. Is it just me, or this is feeling like a repeat of last game? I mean, is it or is it not, right? The question is, do I want to drop another Fable or 2 Magi? And I might actually at this point drop 2 Magi. Nope, I didn't. I am a little bit worried, but yeah, so they did deal with it, but they seem to be a little low on land, so I think that was my thinking. They're missing another another Simic Growth Chamber type card. And that's the thing, like the Fables I can kind of go nuts with. Fable is one of the premier cards in this matchup, ironically. You would not think because it takes so much time to get going, but it's just that they don't really have many good answers either to the Shaman tokens or to the, well, they do to the Kiki-Jiki sort of, but like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. See what I mean? They've got the Dismember, but losing 4 life, man, it's a real thing, and, well, there you go. So here's the interesting takeaway. Stonebrain didn't actually end up doing Stonebrain things, but it actually fixed our mana because they kind of were forced to have to Boseiju it. So, I mean, I don't know what to say. Just, I mean, not gonna lie, that was some insane, some insane hateful hands in 2 and 3. I think when Fobplaws tweeted this out and he praised me for for thinking of Stonebrain and Magi. I wonder if that was, I don't, yeah, I assume that was praise. Excuse me if I'm kind of dense that way, but that was nice and I appreciate it a lot. He's a real cool dude. But I did acknowledge, because I mean it's the truth, that I was kind of lucky to see both of them, in games 2 and 3 and multiple Magi at that. So it's, I'm not gonna sit here and say that we're like super favored, but as you can see, though, I don't think Amulet Titan's like a bad matchup per se. I'm by no means saying it's a good matchup. I think it's kind of even because I think we just get curb stomped so bad in match 1 like we just did. But match 2 and 3, like, I don't know. It's probably slightly in their favor though, but here's the thing: we get 2 matches. Yeah, it's this thing. Like, if we only had to win 1 match, if we got 2 chances to win games 2 or 3, and we only had to win 1. Then I'd say we're pretty solidly favored. But since we got to win 2 matches where we got to see our sideboard cards and all that, it can be a little challenging. So, I mean, I'm going to be honest here. This is one of those cases where it's relatively close, but I'm going to say we're a little bit on the worse side. I'm not going to be, the usual saying like we're on the better side, but it's not really that bad of a matchup. I hear a lot of people say this is a really bad matchup. I disagree to the extent that I don't think this is a really bad matchup, but it's not a good matchup. I guess it is kind of slightly on the worse side. I just think this is a very even matchup that we're kind of slightly on the worse side because we have very strong, powerful sideboard cards, but the fact that we lose game 1 so badly and the fact that they have pretty serviceable answers overall to our hate in games 2 and 3, it does make us, I think, slightly not the favorite, but we very much have a plan, and as you can see, it's especially when we're ripping through our deck so much with all these research deaths and all these Fable the Beerbreaker and Seasoned Pyromancer discards and stuff, like the fact that we can rip through our deck so much and like we can actually like draw into our hate as long as we have time, which time is sometimes a problem, but I don't know, but I do also think it's worth noting, like they dismembered twice again, and like I said, it's a real cost where they have to pay 4 life for dismember. So I'm definitely more of a fan of Magus of the Moon than Blood Moon. The format goes through different hills and valleys, but at this point, and I've been this way for a while, I'm definitely in the Magus camp for now. Things are always subject to change, but Magi all the way at the current point. Anyway, take care, everybody. Let's go to match 4. Alrighty, so this is match 4, game 1. Let's go. This, I'm hoping, will be interesting. And this looks like our favorite, Hammer Time. Hopefully this is as good Magic as it was last time, because so this is a little bit of a bluff, but in my experience, unless they've got 2 hammers, they usually don't just go for it right here. Yeah, and see, this is the thing. I really like waiting on the Furies to get good value. Believe it or not, this is a matchup where card advantage matters more than you might think. It really does. I did that first because I don't want to fix their mana into a blacksmith skill so they could protect their Stoneforge. That would be kind of bad. What did they get here? They got a Colossus Hammer, of course. All right. Hopefully they don't equip because they are worried about the Lightning Bolt. I do like putting the Fear into them. We get to drop the Blast Zone, so I'm not going to say... Okay, I'm a little bit... I don't know if I agree with this or not. I guess my thinking is I can chump block. Maybe I can keep them on the bluff. I do expose myself though to what do you call it? Oh, ooh. Ah, I see. That was their plan. Choose Sigarda's Aids do actually give you that advantage. Maybe I should have just, no, but they could have hit me for 10. I still think I come out ahead here with the Blast Zone. I really do. And I'm going to do this now so that I can drop... No, maybe not. Yeah, because I don't want them to drop another Sigarda's Aid or something. So bam. And I guess they did use their... Yeah. Yeah, let's do this. Yeah, another Blast Zone. I mean, hey, what can I say? I'm feeling pretty good about this. Yeah, alright, I'll take it. Okay, match 4, game 2, and sideboard tech. Yeah, so I think same as last time, we want to take out the Seasoned Pyromancers for Magus, just because Seasoned Pyromancer is good and all, but like a lot of times, like I said last time, we do want to kind of hold on to our answers, and oftentimes like we're going to be holding on to them for a long time, and we're never actually going to play them until they basically force us to, in which case hopefully we have more answers than they have hammers or ways to protect it or whatever. And then usually like if they have more than they win, then they win. If we have more answers, then we win. And then at that point, having a Seasoned Pyromancer to refill, oftentimes in my experience, doesn't make that big of a difference. So just the dynamic of not necessarily having a lot of good pitches because of the way this matchup plays out makes me, believe it or not, this is one of the only matchups where I actually feel like cutting Seasoned Pyromancer is correct. Fable's different because Fable's a completely optional discard. So you can discard 1, you can discard 2, you can discard 0, and that optional thing makes it non-negotiable. Plus, if you can start copying the Furies, then it's game over for them, which is also nice. And that's something that's the type of like lock on the game that you just don't get with a Seasoned Pyromancer. You lose out on being able to copy the Seasoned Pyromancer endlessly, but it's a price I'm willing to pay for the most part, at least right now. Let's see if it's been working for me, and I feel like if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? But it could be subject to change. What other card? Oh yes, and of course Shattering Spree. Got a Relic. Not really much to do with the graveyard in this matchup, so Relic out, Shattering Spree in. I think it's kind of obvious they play a lot of artifacts. And yep, let's go. So okie dokie, we got the Obosh. Okie dokie, this is a serviceable hand. Hopefully I don't get mana screwed. Yeah, Fury would be nice, and Asking You Shall Receive. I literally did not know I was going to draw that. It's been a while, and forgot that I drew it, but that's pretty cool. That literally I was just thinking of the only thing about this hand I kind of wish, other than having another land, would be if I had Fury, and there you go. There's the Fury. Well, yeah, it could get into the territory where not having another land could be kind of... I'm a little surprised I ditched the Mages. Maybe I shouldn't be. I don't know. I guess my thinking is I got the Field of Ruin, but I don't know. I mean, I'm seriously not sure that was such. Oh, I guess because I got another Magus. I stand behind it. Somehow I missed that I had another Magus. So yeah, this sucks that I didn't hit my third land, but it's okay. If they only get 1 token out of this, it's not that big of a deal. So they see Field of Ruin, so they. By the way, always make sure your fetch lands are. Yeah. All right. So I'm gonna do this. If they have some kind of hammer or something, it's fine. I can Shattering Spree it. I will block this thing because I would hate to lose from double hammer from such a winning hand, because I do think this is a very winning hand. Not surprisingly. Oh, that's like the worst. Oh, if they got it all, they got it all. But okay, good. I feel. See, this is where Shattering Spree is so great. Yeah, I might as well. Okay, do they have Okay, they don't. They don't have a blacksmith skill. So. Yeah, I had to use Field of Ruin, mostly just because I had to fix my mana. Alright, and we're off to the races. Alright, I don't know, I got this. Oh, there we go. It's my lucky day or what, folks? It's my lucky day or what? You know, I could have kept something up. But I do kind of like eking value out of my cards, what can I say? I don't know, man, I'm just going to jam Fable, that's my thinking. And that was my thinking at the time as well, apparently. I need the mana. I like Fable. I don't know what else to say. Alrighty. Okay. Well, I'm feeling good about this. Let's see here. I don't know if I need these Flame Slashes. I'm thinking I'm going to discard them. Oh, Fable and Flame Slash. It's a little odd, not going to lie. I would have been a little partial to keeping one of the Fables just because use the extra mana. But I can see, you know, probably going to Flame Slash that Stoneforge Mystic, yeah. We'll hold up the Stomp and Lightning Bolt for Yawgmoth Nexus, always nice. And maybe I look like a genius in keeping maximum number of creature removal. I guess that's the idea. I don't know about this. I don't know about this, man. I don't know about this. But I really feel like I got to hold on to Spikefield Hazard, and I think I will. Yeah, I really got to do some Flame Slash. I don't know about that either, but I guess I don't know. I don't know, man. I'm not 100% sure I endorse all of these plays, but at the end of the day, if it gets us there, it gets us there, right? I feel like if I draw a Fury here, it's pretty much a wrap. Let's see here. I'll take it. Yeah, that's that. You just concede. Cool stuff. I mean, hey, look. Okay, keep in mind that I'm trying to go through my trophy results first before I do anything further. So it's not like I win every single time against Hammer Time, but I do think I've had some pretty good luck with it relatively recently. It does kind of come through peaks and droves though, so I have gone through some stretches where Hammer Time feels like a pretty bad matchup, but this is not one of those times. And and I'll say it again, and for any Hammer Time players, please don't take offense because I could obviously be wrong. But it does feel like this is a pretty even, but I feel like I'm slightly ahead. I don't know but I mean, at the end of the day, we both have the tools. We got the tools against them, like I've said before. They got the tools against our tools, and here it just breaks so that we found what we needed in the right order, in the right time, right sequence. They didn't have what they needed to defend against it in the right sequence, etc., and there you go. And that's how it goes. All right, this should be interesting. Match 5, game 1. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Oh, it's what do you call it? Yeah, and I love Spikefield Hazard against Yawgmoth. It's Yawgmoth. Yawgmoth is also kind of good Magic, man. This is also kind of even. This is one of the few matchups that I actually don't know. I actually don't have an opinion who's favored. It's so both ways. And just like Hammer Time, there's like peaks and droves. Sometimes I keep winning against it. I've been having a pretty decent string of luck, but then I think even before my most recent outings, I think I had some bad luck with it, and it's just so back and forth, man. Like this is there's sequences and things that are just so hard for me to deal with, but then sometimes I can also just kind of really get things off here. Gris is a good one. See what I mean? But I think this is going to be a pretty juicy Fury, though. I think we can all agree. Oh man, I almost maybe I'll come back and screenshot that later, because in retrospect, probably should have screenshotted that and put that on Twitter. No offense to my opponent, because it's not like they didn't. I'm not saying they did anything wrong. I'm just saying, I kind of like the idea of capturing a sweet moment like that, because it's just it doesn't always happen that Fury just kind of really. I mean, Fury is always a pretty nice card, but that you got to admit that was pretty sweet. And I think it was at that moment that I'm like, I think this is going to be a trophy, because sometimes you just feel like you got a pretty good string of luck, and you're like, yeah, this one's going to be a trophy when you get that juicy of a Fury. Not that you're necessarily doing anything yourself, but just that some leagues things just break your way, man. Let me tell you. And if that isn't breaking my way, then I don't know what is. Okay, cool story, but they're still, see what I mean? Yawgmoth's still but we do have the Fury here. But I mean, this is I don't know what to say. They still are in it. We got a lot of good cards here, though. I think they gave it up a little too prematurely. Let me try to think here, because they could sacrifice the Strangle Root, bring that down to a 1/1, so I deal 6 damage. I feel like it's a little premature, but I'm liking our chances there. Not gonna lie, but all right, let's go to the next one. All right, match 5, game 2. We took game 1. How do we sideboard? I'm trying to think. So we took up Pyrite Spellbomb for what did we? Oh, for Stonebrain, of course. Stonebrain, believe it or not, it's not the auto win card you might think, because they still have Grist. They still have a bunch of undying creatures, but they can hopefully juke this out. I think we can all agree, though, that without the Yawgmoth combo, we're I think I would hope we could all agree we're kind of the we're kind of the favored mid-range deck. I would think. I would hope. That being said, like having to spend a whole card, technically card disadvantage, is not something to be trifled with. But I think it's kind of self-evident why we brought in Stonebrain, because if we can't take away the Yawgmoth combo, yeah, you get the idea. So that's my thinking there. Yeah, that hand no red mana, so I just couldn't keep it. So let's see here. All right, we got the Noble Hierarch. Yeah, I just don't want to get rid of the Spikefield because you just never know if we need it either for mana or for Young Wolf. So I don't know, man. I don't know about playing that out. I gotta be honest. I don't know about playing it out. Young Wolf is such a juicy target. I do want to play this though, because if I can Stonebrain and activate the same turn, it's pretty good stuff. Endurance. Yeah, I'll get my burn spells back, I guess. It's pretty marginal either way. If they play Yawgmoth, though, I'm kind of in trouble. Okay. Sometimes they can just beat me down. Let me see here. Yeah, at least I can hit Endurance, but not this turn. It'll have to be next turn. This is kind of risky, but my play here, I think, clearly is Stonebrain, Crack. I think they have Yawgmoth in their hand. Nope. Alright, we'll see. They have relatively limited ways to really go nuts with card advantage otherwise, but if they do play Grist, then it's going to put me in a little bit of a tough spot. They are obviously putting real pressure on me regardless. That puts pressure on me, not going to lie. So let's see here. Yeah, and I got to kind of play defensive here. There's the Grist. There's the Grist. Yeah. There we go. How do we do this? Bam. Why didn't I hit the Young Wolf? Yeah, I can't help but feel like I botched that a little bit. If I hit the Young Wolf, yeah, because they still have... Yeah, so it's going to be... And see, if I had Obosh, I could have put Obosh to hand, Fury, bam, bam, bam. I still don't know if that would have been good enough. Yeah, still might not have been good enough, but... Well, it would have been another Juicy Fury, just wouldn't have been a Juicy Fury that got me there. Okay, match 5, game 3. Let's go. Oh, I got Obosh, so give me a second here. This tells me that my sideboard changed. Yeah, so basically instead of Stonebrain, I'm playing Magus. Maybe I took the wrong lesson, but feeling like I could have used a pitch for Fury is probably what. See what I mean? This is why I'm not 100% sure that I'm going to stick with Stonebrain in the Obosh builds. Although it is a good card. I just don't know if this is the matchup where we want to give up Obosh for it. But the fact that it's not such a no-brainer, I don't know. You hear what I'm saying, I hope. But it's still a good card. It's just, we might get to see Magus, if I remember correctly, do some serious work too. And that was my thinking. My thinking is Stonebrain is good, but Magus is also good. If they don't have a good number of... Like, they need so much green and so much black to make all their cards work. Like right here, Magus could potentially just shut them off right here. We'll see. We'll see. Yeah, I like it. I really like getting the Fable game going. This is where Fable really shines, man. Where I just don't have a lot of actual removal for these like tokens and whatnot. I get to yield through when I do it this way, which is always cool. Alrighty, so I'm a little bit worried about whatever that card's called, Endurance, but I do have Stomp to finish it off if that's the case. Okay. Alright, see, called it, but that's fine. I'm not sure why exactly I did it this way. Yeah, I don't know. That was weird. In retrospect, not 100% sure why I sequenced that way, but at the end of the day, man, as long as I end up taking the win in the end, maybe it's all fine. yeah, that's a pretty obvious Seasoned Pyromancer here. Good pitch with Spikefield, which is actually though it's a little bit less of a throwaway type effect. The exile, at least, I mean, with like Strangleroot guys. But with these relics though, I'm feeling my chances anyway. Oh man, I'm liking this. Oh man, I'm loving it. Oh, I'm loving it, and there's my trophy. Alrighty, yeah. So I'm gonna say about Yawgmoth, it's a good. It's not really. It's very even. By good, I just mean like we're not really we're not terrified of seeing it. It's not creativity. It's not rhinos, but it's also not like another mid-range deck that doesn't grind quite as hard. So you know, it's kind of the element that we're usually kind of going for. But anyway, it's good Magic. Actually, I've actually really been impressed. Where I feel like we're doing better than we did in the past against some of these decks that have been historically, you know, somewhat bad to very tricky, very losable matchups like Hammer Time, you know, Yawgmoth. I feel like our deck might have improved because I do feel like we've been doing better than we have in the past. Not that we did bad per se in the past, but I feel like we're doing even better, and that feels good. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this. Let's get to the deck tech. All right. Post League wrap up with the old Obosh mid-range deck, and what can I say? You know, I think the Forgotten Cave. I think what I showed, it kind of bears it out. It just didn't really screw us over as much as you might think, and in a way, this might be one of the kind of revolutions of Fury, if you really think about it, because we can get away with being so much clunkier than we ever could in the past, because of just how insane of a free board wipe Fury is if we really need it, while also being an insane 5-mana, you know, creature plus board wipe if we actually can pay it for full retail. I was just, the funny thing is actually, if you go back to my original Ragavan preview video, I did actually throw in there that I was super excited for Fury, but I will admit, Fury far exceeds what I even thought in that video, especially since I actually thought Ragavan was going to be the bigger star. Ow. But Fury is actually, I think, by far the bigger long-term star. It's fundamentally, I think, changed the way any type of deck that uses red and is mid-range is going to play, because I think it really incentivizes people to actually be in red in the first place, but also to be able to play Fury. And yeah, not really sure what else to say other than just that I think in many ways Fury, much more so than Ragavan, is actually what kind of enables being so top heavy with the 3-drops, being like not necessarily having a lot of aggressive elements like Swiftspear or Soulscar and whatnot, and just like being so mid-rangey. I don't know what else to say. Not so sure about the Stonebrain. It kind of helped obviously with the Amulet matchup. I mean, it did. Yeah, what can I say? With Seiju and all that. But yeah, but I mean, other than that, I mean, the core of the deck, man, the Shattering Sprees, the Magi, Shadow Spears didn't come up, but we didn't play Burn, which is, perfectly fine for me. And excuse me. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. Just I was impressed. I like the way the deck worked. I think Field of Ruin was totally fine without with only 4 fetchable lands. It didn't end up being a problem at all. And I think yeah, until next time, everybody. I had a blast. I hope you all did too. Felt very solid, and I'll see you all around. I guess I'll quickly show the Obosh sort of version that I'm on now, and be prepared because it's going to be a little wacky, and it could be subject to change, obviously. But let's see that real quick too. All right, and then here is the current Obosh non-Ragavan. I mean, you could put Ragavan in here, but the current Obosh mid-range that doesn't have Saga, because spoiler alert, where I'm at right now, where I want to kind of actively try to maintain the decks, is I've got a Saga, I'll call it Sagavan. I've got a Sagavan Obosh deck, I got a Sagavan non-Obosh deck, and I've got an Obosh non-Sagavan deck and a non-Obosh, non-Sagavan deck, if that makes sense. Basically, I got Sagavan and non-Sagavan, and then I got Obosh and not Obosh, and that's kind of like, because that's kind of the big question, I think. Honestly, because here's the thing, okay? Like, here's where I'm at. Relic, Pyrite, Mishra Research Desk are so good. I really like them, But you can't deny that at that point I feel very incentivized to play Saga. And one of the only reasons I'm not, in a way, is that this is kind of my budget deck. Obviously, Fury and Seasoned Pyromancer are not negligible price, but I think we can all agree it's way cheaper than Urza Saga and particularly Ragavan. But yeah, that's the thing. Like I feel like if budget isn't a concern, you're kind of incentivized to go Urza Saga instead of like the Field of Ruin, and then just try to have more answers to non-basics out of the sideboard, or at least. If you think about it, like sometimes the best answer to their saga is just your own saga, just like, kind of matching their power with your power type of thing. Not always, but anyway, that's sort of my thinking. And once you have Saga, I do feel to some extent you're kind of incentivized to go Ragavan, because Ragavan is already kind of good in the first place. And when you make the treasure tokens, and the treasure tokens juice the Saga, and juice the Saga tokens, you can't deny Ragavan kind of synergizes kind of well with Urza Saga. But that's neither here nor there. I'll show those decks in due course. But for now, we got the non-Saga Van, but the Obosh version. And this is kind of where I'm at right now, and man, I am loving it. Look, it's not perfect, and I know it looks jank as this looks as janky as I love it. I wouldn't love it. I couldn't love it unless it was. I couldn't love it exactly as much as I love it now unless it was this janky. That's just how much I love it. But man, I mean, we got the Forgotten Cave, we got that other tech, but look at this. Okay, instead of Bonecrusher Giant, look at this. Look at this. Yeah. Oh man, I know this card looks jank, but let me tell you, I've been liking it. So what's the thought process? Why did I even think about ditching Bonecrusher Giant to try some other kind of wacky spell? It's Elish Norn, which I kind of explained in my last video, but it's that Elish Norn Mother of Machines card. I guess I could show it again because why not? Let's see here. Elish. Let's see here. Yeah, here it is. Just such a freaking monster of a card. It's monster high toughness. It shuts off my Fable, shuts off my Seasoned Pyromancer, shuts off my Fury. That's kind of my main money cards in many ways. It's just so gross. Plus, it doubles up all of their effects. Even if they don't play that many, as long as they got Solitude and Leyline Binding, whatever, which is like almost any deck that'll play Elish Norn anyway. But yeah, that's the thing, man. So what I was kind of thinking is two ways to go. I actually, like I said before, Brittle Effigy out of the sideboard is one way. To go. Where are my Brittle Effigies here? Give me a second. Yeah, Brittle Effigy is one way to go. But it's just kind of, it has to be in the sideboard. And look, I'll explain in a second. But I just feel like I like freeing up space on the sideboard. The sideboard is where like I could really help iron out some difficult problems. And I'm like, Elish Norn is not necessarily like, it's not pro-red. I mean, I'm like, there's got to be a main deckable way to have a better chance against this. For a while, I actually tried at least in one league with Brittle Effigy in the main. It's just too clunky. I also tried, what is this, Meteor, Shower? That's not Shower. Or Meteor. Maybe I suck at spelling today. There it is. Swarm, okay. Yeah, I tried this in the main. It's also kind of clunky, as you can probably guess. The 3 red mana is sometimes a problem too, believe it or not, because I do have 8 brown sources of mana. Field of Ruin can obviously cash itself in most of the time for another red source, but then that takes time, and it's not bad. This card was a little more main deckable, I felt, than Brittle Effigy. I felt like Brittle Effigy was kind of better in the sideboard. Also, for what it's worth, it deals with Emrakul. I mean, just saying, Meteor Swarm doesn't. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Like, I feel like Brittle Effigy is better in the sideboard. Meteor Swarm's kind of a better main deck card. You can also pitch it with Fury. It also deals with Planeswalker. It's just a little more versatile. But yeah, as you can see, I also thought about this card, Rebel Salvo. In theory, if I got Shadow Spear, it could cost 2 mana, but that's not going to come up almost any time. I'm just going to bring this in against Burn. So anyway, but I was just looking around for like cards that for 3 mana could hit creatures, Planeswalkers at least, or at least could hit creatures. If not, Planeswalkers players. What I was actually thinking at first was I was thinking of Exquisite Firecraft, the 3 mana sorcery, deal 4 damage to any target that Burn players play sometimes. If you have 2 inches for sorceries, it's uncounterable in your graveyard. But I just searched around a little more through the database here, and I'm like, Demon Bolt. So like at first I'm like, well, it doesn't hit players, Exquisite Firecraft hits players, but I'm like, it's instant speed. But then I thought about Foretell, and I'm like, I really like this. Okay, so here's the thing, man. what I really like about Foretell is that this is the kind of deck where, as you can see, a lot of times I'm holding up mana. I don't necessarily, like, even though I have a lot of things to do with my mana, there will be times where I can kind of sink some 2 mana in, and then being able to play this for 1 mana later, it's not just good against Elish Norm, but like also against Murktide. You know, like this makes like Flame Slash plus Demon Bolt like so much easier. Like suddenly like up to 8 toughness creatures or so are not as challenging as they used to be when I've got Flame Slash and I got, you know, Demon Bolt in the mix. I've been loving it a lot, actually, very surprisingly. I mean, also, by the way, it one-shots Omnath at instant speed too, so before they can even play a land to get any extra value out of it. So, hey, for what I'm saying, it one-shots Ren and 6. Of course, you can only do that if they play it on curve. You can only one-shot it before they take up again on the play. But at any point past turn 2, if they're not playing it on curve, this will have the opportunity to one-shot a Ren and 6. Not trivial at all. It one-shots Dryad. It one-shots all the good stuff, all the good creatures we like with Flame Slash. It ticks down serious loyalty to almost any Planeswalker. And you can foretell it and then cast it later for just 1 mana. The knock against it, man, is if you could foretell it from exile with Mishra's Research Desk, then man, it would be such the bee's knees. Because for a while I'm like, oh shoot, is that gonna make it even better? Because that's one of the knocks against it. Is sometimes if there's no target when you exile it, it's just or if you get like 2 of these off of Mishra Research, it doesn't have that much. Doesn't happen that often. That's one of the things I like about Research Desk, by the way, is the fact that if you see a card like this and there's no good targets, you always have the option to pick the other one. So you know, something worth considering. But man, if you could foretell it off of like a Research Desk, that would be so good. But unfortunately, you can't. But it's still good in my opinion. I've been loving it. Other than that, it's the same basic principle. I think my last result was a 4-1, and you know, I haven't trophied with this exact 75 like I did with the previous one. I still kind of like it better, and you know, and apparently I've gone about 40 wins and 15 losses with this not exact 75, but some, you know, I think this also includes the last one that I got the trophy with. You know, that's mixed in there with this result, but it's not a I mean, to say I've been satisfied is an understatement. I love how this deck plays. And Blood Sun, you know, so basically I used to have Stonebrain. Hear me out, okay? Stonebrain is obviously better against like Rhinos and certain combo decks that we don't really see much anymore, probably, like maybe Ad Nauseam, I guess, but like Blood Sun is also good against certain matchups like 4-color Creativity, mainly because it just makes Ren and 6 kind of terrible. It also makes Omnath kind of terrible because they never get extra value out of it. Because I mean, I guess they only gain 4 life for a land drop, but other than that, they don't gain an extra value from Omnath's non-draw card abilities. But whatever. But it's also just that like this is actually a pretty big house against Creativity, because if they can't crack their fetch lands, I mean, it also hurts Ren and 6 in that regard. It also just chokes their mana, makes it way harder for them to hardcast Archon. But it also, if you can get it down early enough, I mean, it makes it so they can't make any tokens with those Dwarven Mines. I mean, they can't, because Dwarven Mine would have the ability. So even if they draw it naturally, they can't crack their fetch to get Dwarven Mine. Dwarven Mine, if they play it naturally, won't create the dwarf token. And that just makes it so much harder for them to go off. Does it completely prevent it? No, because they could also make a treasure token with like, you know, whatever it's called, Prismari command. But you know, like, but also when they have to play so many fetches for obvious reasons in Creativity, because obviously they need those Dwarven tokens, which can be fetched. Like, you know, you'd be surprised how much of a serious hurt you can put on their mana development with Blood Sun. Anyway, it's still not a good matchup though. To be fair, it's not necessarily a good matchup with the Stonebrain, but it gives us a plan. I think it's about equal in impact to Stonebrain against the Creativity decks. But it doesn't conflict with Obosh. It also just has surprisingly good utility in some other matchups. In some matchups, you know, it's good against Urza Saga too. So you just gotta weigh if it's worth turning off your Blast Zones, Field of Runes, and Dens of the Bugbear. You can still cycle Forgotten Cave and still play Spikefield Hazard under it. So there's that. You get the idea. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't have the anti-mill tech in this deck. My hope is between the Blood Suns and the Magus of the Moon out of sideboard, I'm gonna have, you know, the Disruption can help me at least somewhat enough. You know, maybe that's not good enough thinking, but I had a previous version that had like I think 4 underworld cookbooks instead of the shadow spears, for like, better for, I wouldn't say better, but at least for an alternative anti-burn hate type package. And I had like 2 Erlemogs, or 1 Erlemog and 1 Squee. I'm not going to get into that, but I had different configurations, and yeah, the biggest issue I have is I feel like instead of 2 Erlemogs, I might as well play 2 Blood Moons, because Blood Moon is also kind of a house against Mill. Of course, you actually have to draw it, whereas with Erlemog, in theory, you don't, in order for it to have value in the Mill matchup. But still, Blood Moon has so much application on other matchups, I kind of felt incentivized to just go 2 Blood Moon instead of 2 Erlemog, or Erlemog and some other one-of card that's I'm probably never going to draw anyway. But yeah, but the thing I like about Bloodstone, man. So the thing is just in general, Blood Moon, the main problem with it is just that there's so much artifact and enchantment hate running around in a way that they can just deal with it and then be done with it. And I just feel like it's not the old days where Blood Moon was just the hard lock that it used to be. And the thing I like about Bloodstone, man, is even when they deal with it, you still drew a card. Like, that's the thing. Like, it doesn't necessarily hard shut the opponent down the same way Blood Moon did in the past, but I also feel like our deck can grind in a way that our deck couldn't even do in the past. And just the fact that we still get a card off of Blood Sun, I don't know what else to say. But anyway, hope you all enjoyed. That's where I'm at now. This is obviously subject to change, but I like it. I don't know what else to say. I've been liking it, and I hope you all do too. And until next time, y'all take care. And yeah, MHayashi /Magic Matt out. Take care.